Shalom dawning, family. Actually, it's not quite dawning yet, but it is 6:11 local time. It was a little slow getting up this dawning, but it's crawling around out there in the rain. It's saying it's 38 right now, but earlier when it was coming, it was tinking like it was a little frozen rain. I think it got down to 31. I'm not sure. It's interesting that it's saying 38. I don't think it actually is 38. Today is Tuesday, November 18th, Pagan Day, Tuesday, November 18th. And let me throw on my spectacles and I'll tell you what this is. I know we're going to West Virginia, and I know that we're picking up in LaGrange again. I made my way over there and I looked and there was like nowhere to park outside of the gate, and I was asking about sleeping outside or sleeping in the yard or whatever, and they said that company had put out a while back not to do that at all anymore. So this one pays $1.82 a mile, which is that's the best news about it. I know they're going to be taking my plate fee out, so I'll have to replace $50, not because of my fault, but because the manufacturer uses pretty cheap plastic and puts it down below the body of the trailer so that all the wind and anything can hit it. I mean, something could have kicked up from the road and hit it too. So this is a 32-foot fifth wheel. It says it weighs 13,493 pounds, and it's called a Campsite Elite. So we're gonna go get a fifth wheel. We gotta go to LaGrange, and it says it's make this map bigger. It says it's 41 miles away. And roads will be obviously very dark, and 55 on these roads in Elkhart County, and for the most part you can do pretty well. It's saying 52 minutes it should take me, we'll see. And we are going to Camping World of Fairmont, West Virginia. Being that it's Tuesday, you know, it wasn't really feasible to make the entire trip in one day. So tomorrow is the Shabbat, so I couldn't find a pilot or a rest area. Gets like that in the Northeast. It's kind of different. Doesn't mean that there won't be one. I just didn't find one when I was doing it pretty quickly. But so there is a TA, and it looks well and clean. I don't know. I've never been there, but that's probably where we're gonna end up spending the Shabbat, and then we'll just do the delivery first thing on Thursday, which I've already notified them. So Baruk Atah Yahuah. I think I just said how much it paid, but now I'm like, did I say how much it paid? $1.82 a mile, but it comes to like about $750. So check engine light came on the truck again. I talked to Transport Pro Tech because there's more continued leaking of the transmission, and now they did verify that there is an issue in the seal in the back of the pan, and that they'll drop the pan and put the gasket on. Now, I don't know if he was saying that like that in order to skate around changing out the filter, but if you're going to drop the pan and change the fluid, then you should change the filter. So I will say that to them. And they told me that it came back as a check engine light, came back as a coolant performance, something coolant. Even I think they're confused by the codes a lot of the times. But they think it could be a sensor. They won't know more until they get more into it. So they're going to look at that on Friday. I'll drop the trailer on Thursday, and then I'll drive back on Thursday. I'll spend the night here Thursday night, and then I'll go over there on Friday. That's the plan. I should say Abba willing. Always say Abba willing, right? Because we can make plans, but we can't force anything into into being. And we should be Taub stewards of all things, but we need to acknowledge where all of our help comes from, and that apart from Yahuwah, there is no gain, there is no profit, there is no, let's see, Yahuwah giveth and Yahuwah taketh away. Baruk Atah Yahuah of Yahuah. Hallelujah. Our King is sovereign in all things, family. So praise Him alone because He is worthy. Every taub and precious gift comes down from the Father of lights. Hallelujah. Gidget, you ready? You ready to start the day? She was super cold, but Daddy got the heater on, put his little flannel on her. Now she's just cozy as a bug in a rug. A Gidget in her saddle, ready to ride. Right, girl? Yes. You're so taub. Mwah, I love you. And she'll be sleeping while I'm hitching up the trailer, I'm sure. I would have started earlier, but I don't want to try. It's going to be difficult enough as it is to try to hitch up the trailer in the cold and then adding the dark to it. Plus, it wouldn't gain me anything this time, so there's no reason to do it. But we'll be there right about the time the sun comes up, and I reckon that'll be about the time that we see you again. Shalom. All right, family. Told you I was going to do a walk around on the fifth wheel campsite reserve. So let me get the camera down and we'll get to it. All right. It's actually kind of hilarious how much the colors match. The letters on the campsite and that red stripe, it just matches the truck. But yeah, this one's pretty large. Double axle. Looks like it has 2 AC units on the top. I don't think you're gonna be able to see anything in there because it's so reflective. But yeah, all the lugs were really tight. Pretty fancy wheels. I mean, at least they look like it. I think this one will pull like a dream, so let's get on the road. Whee! I just wanted to capture this building real quick because this is in downtown LaGrange. The droplets are messing up the focus, but maybe worth a quick look. Baruk Yahuah. Alright, so we got 65 miles until our first stop. Everything seems to be going okay with the load. I saw the propane door pop open, so I jumped out. Now it's crazy. You can't lock the propane doors on these campers. I mean, come on, guys. You think you want to secure your propane? You think you want to be able to latch your door, like lock it when you're traveling? Because I had to tape these with plumber's tape so I don't damage the finish on the trailer. But it's like for it to pop open when you're in travel, I'm gonna have to give you a real low mark on that one, obviously. It's kind of crazy what goes on. Of course, you remember that Timberwolf, the paneling just came right off. The screws weren't even into wood or nothing. They didn't push back on me on that. They didn't try, at least not yet, to charge me anything, but I did have to eat $50 on the plate. So I'm gonna be real cautious where I put my plates now. I'll tell you that. But anyways, Ruach Yahuah, we're on our way, and we should get mostly everything knocked out today. I mean, I could get there, but it'd be too late. They wouldn't be able to receive the unit, and I just don't see trying to push myself like that when I have a scheduled maintenance appointment now on Friday anyway. So, and I have a Shabbat rest, so I might as well kind of pick and choose where I want to try to have that, right? I'm really not sure why the phone is telling me it's 30 on this road. I seriously doubt that. But let's give thanks to Abba, Baruk Atah Yahuah, for this Yom, for this day. Please barak us, deliver us from all wicked Ruach Ha'Qadash, evil spirits. Give us your Gil, which is what they call J-O-Y, unclean word. Shalum, P-E-A-C-E, unclean word. And Chesed, M-E-R-C-Y. Alright, give us your Gil, Shalom, and Chesed in your Qadashayam, Bahashem, Al Kal Shem, your name that is above all names. Yahusha HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yeah, the phone's telling me it's 30. I'll bet you it's 55, but things like that we got to deal with, right, family? So may Abba barak you and keep you in Yahusha's name. See you soon, Abba willing. Shalom. Shalom, shalom, family. Yeah, we've been rolling on quite a bit, but with no camera. And really the reason why is because of the visibility and the rain. Hold on, everybody's jamming on brakes. Wow, that was not cool, dude. Why is it only this lane? Unreal. Alright, I'm taking a chance to jump out here in this lane because all this traffic is in one lane. I don't know what's going on. So we're on 33, it's called. Now these people are trying to get over too. Oh, everyone has to get over. Dang it. Dang it. Sorry, bro. I did not realize that that was going on, or I would not have jumped out. He's cool about it. I would have never turned the camera on right now if I would have known all this was happening. But you know, it bees like this sometimes. Honestly, like a lot of the route that we've been on, going through Ohio, there isn't really much to look at anyways. But then with this rain, it's like a misty, reminds me of the Pacific Northwest. Everything's just gray and dreary and you can't see anything. You can't see very far, nothing. I do have 2.5 hours or 151 miles left for the day, which that should be a TA, and now I've forgotten the name of the town that it's in. It was like Morgan Hill or something like that. Anyway, I was reading some of the reviews and I was thinking that would be where we would just basically spend Shabbat tomorrow, because tomorrow is the 7th day in Yahuwah's Moedim, or the Father's times. The pattern of 7 established in Genesis 1 has never changed, never broken. Just like his creation itself, unshakable, unmovable. Yeah. So of course the enemy has changed the calendar dozens of times, and they're trying to create all this confusion and everything, and some of that's actually prophetic, and so be it, right? Actually in Yuvalim it teaches us that the sons of Noah, they broke the oath and they drank the blood, which they had basically sworn to never do, and it came with the dislodging of the times. This is a severe curse. Now, just hear hear me out here. You will esteem a normal day as a Qadash, or placed apart day. And you will esteem a placed apart day as a normal day. That's what's going on. That's what happens. Everybody who fights over Saturday, Sunday, or Moon Day, and they're all on the loony solar calendar, which comes in 10 days too short. Also, truth from Yuvalmi. When they literally hid the seventh day right in the middle of the pagan week, and they call it Hump Day. Yep. This is profound, and I believe that the revealing of this truth by Yahuah is essential to the times that we're in. Just like a lot of that he's been revealing about his Qadash lip, his pure lip, it's something that he is restoring in these last days. And this is it, man. This is last days. This stuff has gotten so crazy. And it's going to just keep increasing. Now he's removed his hand, his restraining hand, and he's allowing great testing to come upon his people. And there's a shaking, and there's a division, and all this is happening. And soon we're going to see a lot of tares being gathered up and thrown into the furnace. And there's countless different ways that they're harvested, right? So you know about war, famine, pestilence, and all these things are increasing. And so I'm expecting the U.S. to have a declaration of war soon. Innovation Park, 33 Innovation Park. I wonder what goes on there. Scott's Lawn Road, Scott's Lawn. Isn't that the Monsanto's company that makes the fertilizer for your grass? Anyway, and clearly, you know, like I talked about in the last video, which if you haven't seen it, please consider going and checking it out, which was Hanson to Albuquerque. I believe that's correct. Oh, look at this poster of this demon with a mask on its face. Anyway, excuse me. Losing track of my thoughts. Forgive me, bear with me. Yes, the $2,000. Okay, I was like, what was I talking about? So it's just like a magic trick, straight up. They're saying that the money comes from tariffs, but anyways, the whole thing of geopolitics, if you know scripture at all, then you would know that that is false. Just like rumors of wars, it's false. Okay? The kings of the earth conspire together against Yahusha and Yashar'Al. And so this is a way that they can like convince their own public that they have this boogeyman that they have to stop and get, you know, and that there's somehow like this international markets. The scripture also tells you that the merchants of the earth have become rich from the wares of this harlot, this religious fornication, spiritual idolatry, worshiping foreign mighty ones, fallen angels, demons, and the upper echelons of government. They serve and worship devils. In the richest, most elitist companies of trading and global commerce, which is a lie, they also serve the foreign mighty ones. So I don't care if it's Bezos or Tesla or whomever, even a lot of the ones that you don't know the names of. We don't know the bloodlines because they don't even have passports. They travel the world without going through any kind of like searches, seizures, right? They got some special thing that lets some powers that be the policing of the world know they're okay to go through. They just go right through, right? Like that Jedi mind trick. These are not the droids you're looking for. These are not the droids that we're looking for. Let them through, right? It's funny. So, yeah, that's basically a Luciferian trick to say, here's your own money, and by the way, it won't have any buying power because the black horse of the apocalypse is striding, and that's what everything to do with the inflation and the supply chain threats and the transportation grid shuts down. All this stuff is coming to pass, and I don't know how long, you guys, but I've never felt it was closer. That's for sure. And anybody can ask my most courteous Yapa, beauty-filled Asha, and she'll tell you, yeah, he's been saying that since like 2020 when we sold our house in Florida and moved into the Ark, our RV vengeance. And a time I think is coming for us to leave the Ark because it's served its purpose, and so may we be able to come to rest on some sort of dry land. Now that doesn't mean that the struggle's over. That doesn't mean that we're not going to still be killing giants. You know, it just means that the purpose of the season of the Ark could be passing, and I don't know for sure. I'm still waiting for Yahuah to show me all the things, but I'm starting to make preparations to make a move. And you know, my Asha has a stirring in her Ruach too, and I know that it's important for Yashar'Al to tribe up, to tribe together. So we need to get focused on that. I've already been putting this out in the videos, asking for people to let me know if they want to sojourn together and crickets. So be it. You know, Yahuwah's will be done in all things. But yep, we're making our way across Ohio, and we were near Marysville when I first fired this up, and now I feel like we're gonna be getting close to Columbus, which is Columbia, which is Queen of Heaven, Ishtar, yep, which is like Diana when you see the figurine on top of the U.S. Capitol building. You're looking at idolatry, pagan idolatry right here. Exgen, you better wake up. Man, the Statue of Liberty ain't what it appears to be. He's a trickster. He'll fool ya. Alright? You better stop putting all your amunah in your president, because she's tricking you too. Yeah. I understand that she's meeting with the Saudi Crown Prince here in a moment, or what have you. So I may play that and do some commentary on it, I'm willing, here in a moment. And I know that the camera is not really picking up much out there, so I might just flip it around. But you need to look at me either. I just I don't want to have. I want the camera to have you know, great views of creation, and then but this is what we got today, so that's the way that it is. All right, family. Let me get this Trumpian thing queued up and whatever, and rolled it. I did find it kind of interesting that the news turned up the audio outside of the quote-unquote White House when Trump and the Saudi leader were walking, looking at old pictures of former presidents. And, man, maybe look into this or call me crazy, whatever. I heard train like this, and I'm like, there's not going to be a train station that close to the White House. That's weird. And there were other weird sounds that maybe were like construction sounding sounds, and those shouldn't be there either. But people have been sharing stuff online where it's like AI and green screen, and just because the Biden clown show is over doesn't mean that the clowns aren't still running the show, because they are. Clowns in America and around the world. So don't be fooled by all the geopolitical stuff. Don't buy the hype that there's some email where Trump, she is blue Clinton or Bubba, what have you. Like, that information is being released because they want it to be released, and that is a bit of a mind screw when you think about it, for people to have that in their mind, that the president is doing that with the former president. Like, it's difficult information to carry around in your brain and try to have some cognitive dissonance about, which makes you very controllable, by the way, especially if you want to go and defend your idols, which most people do. But some people are already aware that the whole world is a stage, that they're all basically selected and not elected, and so for them, it's not going to have the same impact. And Baruk, you will for that. All right, family. Shalom, shalom. Alright guys, I mean, I have no idea what to expect with this other than high-level spell casting, where most people believe what is said on the surface level and don't read underneath. But he tells you everything in plain sight, and it's part of the power is that, like, if I could just, okay, if the spell can tell you a dark truth right to your face, and you applaud and think it means something else and cheer and all that, like, that's high level witchcraft. And so let's see what all is said, and see how long I can kind of juggle, because I got some construction on Route 33, and just want to make sure that I don't miss a turn or anything like that. But let's give this a shot. Abba, give us eyes to see and ears to hear the truth, and expose the works of darkness. In Yahusha's name. Amen. Hasn't really started yet. They're just getting ready here.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We have a extremely respected man in the Oval Office today, and a friend of mine for a long time, a very good friend of mine. And I'm very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else. And he's the Crown Prince, the future king, and I just want to pay my greatest respect to your father, King, who is an amazing man. I met him early on. He greeted me at the airport at an age that was pretty high up there, and it was about 117 degrees, and he was standing on the red carpet as I came out of the plane, and he's amazing. And when I met his brilliant son, who was at the Oval Office, shortly thereafter, you came in representing the country, and I called the father. I said, "This guy is fantastic." And I don't know if that helped you or hurt you, but obviously it couldn't have hurt you much because here you are, right? So we had a great meeting, and the office has changed quite a bit, and we inherited a mess. You actually told me you thought the country was in big trouble. I'm not going to use the exact word that you use. I refuse to say that you thought our country was dead a year and a half, 2 years ago. But
I was going to say, you refuse to say it. I've heard you say it 100 times already. It's so stupid.
Country was in trouble, and now we have the hottest country in the world. You said that also. And we do. We have the United States is right now the hottest country in the world. And between the tariffs and the election, November 5th election, we've done things that nobody can believe. $21 trillion will be the amount invested in the United States or committed to invest in 1 year. So I'm here 9 months, we're up to almost $18 trillion. Biden, as an example, the Biden administration, if you call it that, it's not, to me, it was the Biden lack of administration. They were less than 1 trillion for 4 years. We're going to be 21 trillion for 1 year. I think it's hard to believe. The biggest in history was a certain country, 3 trillion. We're going to be 21 trillion. On top of that, prices are coming down. We inherited a mess with high prices. The worst inflation in the history of our country. We had inflation that was a single 4 years, the worst inflation in the history of the United States. The gas prices through the roof, and that's after destroying our petroleum reserve, which was meant for war.
I mean, honestly, a point is coming when you're not even going to be able to buy gas, oil.
And big emergencies, not to try and win an election. They opened up the reserve so that people get $3 less in gasoline, and it didn't work. They got about 3 cents less, because as big as those reserves are, they're peanuts when you're talking about that kind of traffic. And we're rebuilding the reserves. We're doing all of this. We've done a job. We're also bringing down prices very substantially, and we've already brought them down very, very substantially. Gasoline is way down. I think you'll be seeing $2 gasoline, but we're now at $2.50, $2.45. Some are lower than that. It was $4.50, $5, $6, $3.50, $3.75. Under by all different numbers, but way high. And we have energy way down. But the biggest thing to me, because I know what it means in jobs, is the fact that we're at over $17 trillion, Scott, and we expect to be around $21 trillion in 1 year. And that's many times bigger than, in history, the highest number was $3 trillion. And we're going to be at 21 trillion. That means new plants, new AI, new auto plants. We have auto plants coming in from Canada, from Mexico, from Germany, from Japan. Toyota just agreed to invest $10 billion on new auto plants, all American workers. We've never been in a position like this. You can go back to the beginning. Our country has never been in a position like this. And it really is because of the fact that we use tariffs to bring all this.
See, in this thing about the positioning, like I discern. I'll tell you what I discern. I could be wrong. Discern for yourself. I believe that the largest mass ritual human sacrifice ever recorded is going to take place here in the melting pot, Babylon 2.0, which is in order to usher in the king of the four mighty ones in the flesh. That's what I think he's referring to when he talks about how it's positioned. Never been positioned like this. This is a completion culmination or a culmination of a plan that they've had for a long time. And that is the ushering in of the golden dawn. Okay?
And you're going to see the results in a year when these plants start to open up. We have more plants under construction now than at any time in the history of our country. And these are big plants. These are the biggest plants anywhere in the world. And I want to thank you because you've agreed to invest $600 billion into the United States. And because he's my friend, he might make it $1 trillion, but I'm going to have to work on him. But in 600, we can count on 600 billion, but that number could go up a little bit higher, yes, or I don't know, we'll see. But we appreciate it very much. So Saudi is going to be investing at least $600 million, and that means investments in plants, in companies, money on Wall Street, and what it really means for everybody that really counts is jobs, a lot of jobs. We have a lot of jobs. So I just want to thank you. We've been really good friends for a long period of time. We've always been on the same side of every issue. I think we've done a great job in wiping out the nuclear capacity of Iran. Nobody else could have done that. No other president would have done it.
It's not even
we had
real.
The pilots in the Oval Office right here. We were celebrating a very successful attack. So I had them in with that beautiful B-2 bomber that's over there. And they said, sir, for 22 years, we practiced this attack. Our predecessors, these were very young guys, so 22 years, they said our predecessors and us practiced the attack on Iran. But no president ever gave us the go-ahead. 3 times a year they went out and they practiced the attack. Nobody let us do it until you came along, and I let them do it because it was the right thing to do. You can't have a nuclear Iran. And so we put you in a very good position. But I just want to say it's an honor to be your friend, and it's an honor that you're here.
Right?
And if you'd like to say a few words, but thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. This relation for about 9 decades, and we've been working together for a long time. But today it's a very important time in our history because there is also a lot of things that we're working on in the future. We believe in the future of the United States of America. We believe it's really creating a lot of good things and good foundation to create more economic growth, more business in America. It will also your work for the world peace. I believe, Mr. President, today and tomorrow we're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment, real investment and real opportunity by details in many areas. And the agreement that we are signing today in many areas in technology, AI, in earth materials, magnet, etc., that will create a lot of investment opportunities.
So you are doing that now. You're saying to me now that the 600 billion will be 1 trillion.
Definitely, because what we are signing will facilitate that.
I like that very much. No, that's great. I appreciate that. That's great. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever done.
Literally, the idolaters are going to be drunk on that. Drunk.
And in all fairness, if you didn't see potential in the U.S., you would be doing it.
Definitely.
You don't want to lose money.
As you said, Mr. President, it's the most hottest country in the planet. But what you are creating is not about opportunity today. It's about also long-term opportunity in the States of America that will affect American economy positively in the next coming decades, preparing the right foundation of emerging technologies.
It's not about economic gains. These people print money out of thin air. The money is used as a system to enslave and control. Everyone's a debt slave. Hope you realize that by now. Because if you don't, I don't even know what to tell you. I don't know where to begin. Okay? It's all about control. Top down, tyrannical rule. Pyramid system. The final capstone being placed atop of the beast system, which is a worldwide web of global, tyrannical, oppressive pharaoh. Just like the pharaoh from scripture is to put all the people under absolute control. And most people badly are on the broad path that leads to destruction, and they will dance to the symphony of their own destruction and choose their enslavement. They love their enslavement now. Okay? Very few people are on a narrow path that can see what's happening with the beast system, and they're the ones who they really want to head hunt, like the scripture says. Those are those who lost their head for their amunah and witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, who is Yahuah, Baruk Yahuah. See the star of Rampan right there? Did you see it? Rampan, 6-pointed star. Just about every city across the entire Babylon 2.0. Alright. Let's keep this going for a little bit.
That's a game changer for America in a good way. I want to be part of it.
Yeah, we're doing really well. I just, you don't see what we're doing so much because we have, although the construction industry sees it.
Yeah.
If you look at Caterpillar, who's been incredible, the tractors, everything else, the numbers that we're doing in construction are unbelievable. Some of the plants that we're building, AI, and they're building their own electric with the plant. I gave them the right to build their own electric with the plant because no country, frankly, will have this. China's working very hard to produce enough electric, but we're beating China substantially in AI, which is a big thing. And we had a great meeting 2 weeks ago with President Xi, but on AI, we're doing well. And I have a man, David Rommel. David, could you say a few words about what you're seeing on the job front and all of the some of the assets, and also how we've been helped by the Saudis in terms of the kind of investment they've made, please?
Most certainly. Thank you for the opportunity. I am a facility leader for GE Vernova, and if you look at the landscape for GE Vernova investment, over $750 million in the U.S. focused on true manufacturing jobs here stateside. We're looking at tripling the output of our Greenville, South Carolina facility, where we make the gas turbines that are supporting U.S. needs as well as the Saudi Arabian needs. So real jobs, $300 million in gas investment, resulting in over 500 pieces of new equipment being installed in the Greenville, South Carolina facility. That translates into roughly 1,800 jobs across the board for GE Vernova as we try to scale capacity to be able to meet this demand. Along with that, we're partnering with local communities to build the skill set that's required to meet these capacity needs. So that talent pipeline is incredibly important. So it's real jobs in the manufacturing space.
Well, you've been great, and thank you very much. And we love that state. I won that state by record numbers. I won a lot of states by record. Texas, a lot of them by Indiana. We're working with Indiana or something right now. We won that. We won a lot of them by records, but that was one of them. I want to thank you very much. Say hello to everybody. Great job. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
All right, let me pause it right here because I got a message from my Yahusha. I need to check it, and I'll be back Papa willing. Shalom. All right, Shalom. Here we go. Stopped at this rest area, and they have you pull out. Like it's abrupt how you're supposed to just pull out and start merging. No, I'm not gonna just stop because I need a little bit of momentum to get out here. I'm not a little car. Dang, you don't get a ramp or nothing. Ghetto. Okay, so let me get this back up and running for a second.
Jim, you're doing a great job. Thank you. So, just in wrapping up, we'll take a couple of questions, but I want to just tell you what an honor it is to be your friend, and I very much appreciate the investment of now $1 trillion, okay? I'm glad you got that out. I didn't want to be the one to tell them, but that's great news.
You keep increasing, Mr. President.
I know.
Each time the opportunities.
Man, if he ever says, I don't want to say it or I don't want to be the one to make sure you know, he dang sure does want to. Whew. That's just crazy. Yeah, no, he wants to say that it was $1 trillion. And I'm telling you, there's going to be people that are just absolutely drunk over that. They will not be able to see beyond the magic trick. They're going to think that all this recovery is coming. Well, you know, they're going to make all these changes and it's going to create all these jobs and everything. We're going to have all prosperity and everything. Their golden age don't have nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their coming out party. To where at some point all the hoopla about the Epstein files and logs and whatever, that's just going to be, everyone's going to understand that that's a part of their religious practice and that that's what they partake in. Right? Sodomites and cannibals. Remember that group of fine young cannibals? Yeah, something like that, to where then everybody wants to embrace it and get in on it, and they want to practice the religion too. You know? And you're not going to be esteemed in their cult because you're not born and raised into it. Alright. I think we're wrapping this thing up. I don't think there's too much more to say that hasn't been said. Not that anybody really listening, you know what I mean?
Just increasing more and more.
Well, the opportunities, you know, we're doing better. If even if you look back 6 months ago, I mean, all of a sudden you feel even better. So, and I think we're only going to go in one way. Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. President, have you approved the export licenses for advanced chips to Saudi Arabia? The export license?
We are working on that. We're negotiating that right now. Marco, do you want to talk about that, or Scott?
Well, I mean, that's part of what we may have announcements on that later today. But that's what we've been working on is the mechanics by which something like that could be achieved. And it's part of the broader process, part of this broader engagement and cooperation between our two countries.
Certain levels of chips.
For the Crown Prince, Your Royal Highness, you're talking about $1 trillion of investment. Could the kingdom continue to do that with oil prices in the mid-60s?
We are not creating a fake opportunities to, you know, please America, please Trump. It's real opportunities. For example, when you ask about the AI and the chips, Saudi Arabia has a huge demand of you need computing power, and we're going to spend in the short term around $50 billion by consuming those semiconductors for our needs in Saudi Arabia. And with the agreement that we're going to have with the rest of America, that will allow us to focus that consuming power in the short term by $50 billion from the rest of America, and long term with hundreds of $billions in the long term. So there's a lot of real opportunities that fit to our need in Saudi Arabia and fit to our investment strategy.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans...
Who are you with?
And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news, ABC fake news, one of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it never could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Since you asked Mr. President, allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, you know, the families of 9/11 in America. But we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on North documents that Osama bin Laden used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that destroying the relation between America and Saudi Arabia is bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to prove him wrong and to build our relation and to continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the terrorists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for,
I guess I feel like I need to say again, anybody who believes any of this or buys into any of this has no idea what's really going on in the world. The whole conversation about Bin Laden and 9/11 and all the rest of it, this is just high-level witchcraft for those who are already in the spell, in the matrix. If you haven't looked into that yet, you probably don't stand a chance. Seriously. Like, if you haven't looked into the true cosmology of creation, meaning the flat earth or ball earth cosmologies, I don't know. Yahuah have facade on you because he's not allowed you to come out of a strong delusion. The same thing exists on the Bin Laden and 9/11 front. Okay? It was actually pretty ironic that the Crown Prince said that how we need to be in reality. Because it's like saying by talking about this, we're not in reality. It's right in plain sight, right in front of your face. He's saying it, but most people would never get it. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it right there. It's a lot. It's a lot of meat despite the downpour that's going on. The visibility in front of me is very minimal. That's just the alarm for my auxiliary fuel, which has been working great, by the way. It just seems like it is, I don't know, leaking. I don't think it should be doing that at all, but it seems minimal. And it is what it is. Alright guys, I'm gonna get off of here. We got an hour till we get to the TA. Weather lets up or whatever, I may jump on there. I have half a mind to come on and read Isaiah 13 and 14. My Shah shared with me the other day. I read through them both. Wow, such powerful confirmations of the last days. The role of Yashar'Al in the last days. I may do that. We'll just see. Much love and favor to you from Yahuah. Baruk Atah Yahuah. Shalum Shalum. Mashpata. I don't have my headphones on, but I thought this might be kind of pretty, so I wanted to get it up on there. Going over a bridge here of the Ohio River, and it's a sign saying welcome to West Virginia. Yahuah, please help me to remember to get my shot in Ohio magnet, because I did not find one where I stopped, and it's still one of the ones that I want to get for her. And you kind of can't see the bridge, darn it. It's kind of a pretty bridge. So it's old. We're on US 50. If you look at US 50 crossing over the Ohio, it would have been cool if you could have seen it from the side view, but not this time. Big hill ahead of me. I'm just trying to get up a little bit of speed. I could be going even faster, but I I don't want to be accelerating on the hill because it's pretty steep. Alright. Baruk Yahuah. Of course, the truck is like, yeah, no problem. The fifth wheel's doing great. 315 miles and getting 9.5 miles to the gallon. So keep in mind that's about 13,000 plus GVWR and pulls better than a lot of the lighter travel trailers because of the, I think it's because of the aerodynamics of it itself. Could have something to do with weight distribution or whatever as well. And then there's a lot of other factors, like we have come into a few hills, but not quote unquote mountains. All right. Well, Baruk Atah, we're in West Virginia. We've only got 12 more miles until we get to our stop. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back off of here. Just wanted to share that Ohio River and that bridge. And as you can see, still very wet and rainy out here. Qadashayam for keeping us safe. Baruk Yahuah. Shabbat Shalom, my people. Watchman Yirmiyahu, Qadashayam of Yasharal with little Gidgy road dog right here. And I said that I was going to share a couple of chapters of Isaiah, Yeshayahu. And I do palal that Abba give me wisdom and insight as we go into these verses. And also that he gives me his gil. Shalom and Hasad, as I often say in the Barukah, because last night was rough, family. Please palal for me. You know, we come in here and it was pouring down rain. I'm at a truck stop, a TA in West Virginia. So I went inside and see if it has something to eat, and they make fried chicken in there. So I ordered me some fried chicken and ask Abba to cover me on it. You know, I also looked at like IHOP they have in there, and I think the prices are high, and I don't trust a lot of the ingredients. I mean, how do I trust this chicken? It's how it is out here. You know, we can't raise up our own food. Baruk Atah, that I have this fridge right here, and I got Amish eggs and milk in there, and I got elk that my Ak hunt himself, Baruk Yahuah. But I shared some with Gidgy Girl, and I don't know if that was a mistake or what, but she wet the bed, and this is the first time that she done that with us, like in it. She didn't let me know. I didn't. It's like, so okay. It got me quite frustrated. I had to get up into the front seat, put my leg on, get out, go around. I remove the sheet. But Baruk Yahuah, my idea to put the sleeping bag under the sheet with the slick side, the water resistant side facing up, nothing penetrated down in. It just stayed right on that little sheet. So I took it up, put it in the dirty clothes, and I put the other sheet on there. And about an hour later, you know, walked her and everything, tried to lay back down for several hours, and what do you know she did? Wet the bed again. She wet the bed again, and I was like, my just heart sank so low. Like, I want her to learn, I want to teach her, but I want to be mean. And I don't know if the chicken somehow, I just gave her, like, I would just peel off the white meat and give her that. I wasn't giving her like the fried parts or nothing. Maybe that was my mistake. I don't know. And it also smells, because it's. Please pull for us, maybe she won't have any more of these kinds of accidents. I don't have no more sheets to be putting on there. I'm going to drop the RV tomorrow, and then we'll go back to Goshen Thursday. I'll be willing Thursday night I can get some laundry done. It's we all have our things, trials, struggles. We've been out here for a while and nothing like that's ever happened, so maybe it is something to do with the chicken. I don't know, but I would appreciate your palaws, and please let me know how I can palaw for you. I'll be honored to palaw for you. So today we're not buying nothing, we're not traveling nothing. This is rest. I'll be on the phone. I'll be willing with my house, my Yashar'Al, my bond. I love you guys so much. I miss you guys so much. And may we be on the phone for a great long while. So let's look at this. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 13. The burden of Babel, which Yeshayahu, the son of Amatz, did see. So you know that we have a vision of Isaiah, Yeshayahu, about Babel, Babylon, Babylonians, Bat Lamed, as I do like to say, because it's the same letters that you would see in the word Bible, right? Because there's no I and an E and all that. This is actually Babal. Babal is how we would say it in Abrith, in the ancient tongue. So sometimes I notice this with church pastors. They try to say, it's already happened. Nonsense. So in the prophecy is true, past, present, and future. So we have to understand how Revelation works and how Yahuwah works. Lift up a banner upon the high mountain. The high mountain, Zion, maybe this is a victory type of a thing. Exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Also like a war cry, like a dispatching of an army. Okay? I have commanded my sanctified ones. Who is the sanctified ones? Palau, it's you. Palau, it's me. The Qadashayam, my placed apart peoples. Yashar'Al, my upright ones. Us who pause and reflect and say, okay, what did I do? How did I err, Abba? Show me my mistake. Help me to be better. How can I be better? I want to grow from this. I want to learn from this. I want to become purified. If that's even an okay word to say, right? Sanctified, placed apart, made Qadash, made righteous. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger. Mighty ones. His mighty ones are his malakim, angels, messengers. Now, Baruk Yahuah for this understanding, because I believe that the Malakim, kings, Malakim, and priests, I forget the word right now, doesn't matter, but kings and priests forever after the order of Malak Sadak, the king of righteousness. So these are other sovereigns and priests that are likened unto stars in other parts of the scriptures, sons of Abraham, children of the promise. A lot of these things kind of end up tying together. But what's he saying here? I've gathered together, called together my placed apart peoples, my kings that deliver my messages, my truth. They make all Qadash judgments. like a king, makes judgments on matters, and they intercede for my people. This is like how the priest intercedes for the people to Yahuwah, right? So these are esteemed roles of a man, to be a king and to be a priest. Well, these are kings and priests. If you look back into Ra, you're going to see the king is separate from the priest, is separate. King don't do priestly duties. There's stories about that in scripture too. I can't recall the names right now off the top of my head, but it's not well for them to do that. This is going to be different because this is next level stuff. These are the sons of Elohim who have been made into his image, transformed by the renewing of their minds and their Qadash. Okay. And also, the purpose is given: his anger, his vengeance, his wrath. He's going to pour his wrath out on Babel, What? Using the Qadashayam? Yeah. Using the Qadashayam to execute his vengeance on the nations who conspired together. All the kings of the earth conspire together against Yahuwah, who's Yahusha, and his bride Yashar'Al. Touch not my anointed, he says. He will repay. Personally himself, right? Okay, let's look. Even those that rejoice in my highness. So they worship him. Yeah? They give him all praise, esteem, and honor. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. Yahuwah Sabaoth muster the host of the battle. So, does this have a physical manifestation of truth to it? Perhaps. But also we need to understand this in a spiritual sense, because this is a multitude of nations, like the children of the promise being as numerous as the stars of the Shemayim. Gathered them together in his high mountain, Mount Zion, Zadi, T-S-I-O-N, I guess I would say, but it's not going to be T-S-I-O-N. I need to look at that word, because it's no I, so it's probably a Yod, and maybe it's a Ua. I don't know why they put the O there. But anyway, there's a lot of noise. A great people, kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahuwah has assembled them for this purpose. They come from a far country, from the end of the Shemayim. So this is like when you look in Chat Chalut in Revelation and you see this army coming down from heaven with Yah leading the charge. You can see this being assumed. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. Even Yahuwah and the weapons of his indignation. You see, if you understand in the scripture, it says that Yashar'Al is an axe in his hand, a weapon. He will use his sons to make war. I don't know why, but Abba's reminding me when we were in Yubalim, Judah told his father, Yaakov, bend your bow, father. Like, it's time to make war. The enemy has us surrounded. We're locked into this tower. It's time for us to fight. Okay. And the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. That's his vengeance. That's his wrath coming down. That's the once and for all knocking it out. Howl ye, for the day of Yahuwah is at hand, and it shall come as destruction from Al Shaddai. Al Shaddai is Al Shaddai. Al Elohim, mighty Elohim, or or some people might say something like the Lord Almighty, right? But there's only one Aluah, and there's only one Qadash, Mighty One, that's worthy to be worshipped, right? This is who it is. Therefore shall all the hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Because Yahuwah is coming with his vengeance and with his wrath, the hearts of all Adam, or they call Edomites, will faint and melt. Their hands become like limp, useless, nothing. They shall be afraid, verse 8. They shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall hold them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travails. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Paralyzed with fear, shock and awe on their faces. I don't know. It says be as flames. That could be something to do with the transliteration, but I think we saw another one that said that their faces were white as white ash, something. Okay. Verse 9, behold, the day of Yahuwah comes, the great and terrible day of his wrath, his second coming. But it says Yahuwah. Yeah, because Yahuwah is Yahusha. This isn't already just like, oh, that's already, the pastors will be like, that already happened. Okay. Cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the criminals thereof out of it. Okay, listen to this. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. Sounds like Revelation, don't it? So if the stars, Malachim, are come down with Yahuwah to execute his wrath, anger, and vengeance upon the land, upon the criminals, that would kind of make sense, wouldn't it? They're not billions and trillions of miles away, where they're literally right up there in the firmament, outside of space and time. That's what I believe. And they're the obedient ones. They're going in their circuits as they're ordained to do perfectly, going in the way. All right. Okay. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So, ex-Jim pastor who says this is already going on, literally, they're just blind guides, if not worse, knowingly deceiving possibly some of them. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So sometimes we say it, right? Why do the wicked prosper and imagine a vain thing? Everyone putting all their HOPE, trust, and FAITH in a man, in an economic plan, in a digital-backed currency, in Trump, like in all this stuff. Oh, how proud they are in their retirement plan and portfolio and investments and blah blah blah. Well, they will be brought very low. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than golden wedge of Ophir. Now, if you think about it, that's what he's doing with his sons right now. He's forging them all anew. He's removing every unclean thing, every bit of dross from off of there, so they're like refined like silver 70 times. I might be misquoting that. Refined as silver. Well, anyways, forged in the flames of affliction. You're gonna go, man, why am I going through all this? Because you're being refined. You're being refined. Okay? And our sisters too. Alright? Now he says, therefore I will shake the heavens and the earth shall remove out of her place. Now you know that we have this great and terrible earthquake. Like this is some kind of earthquake like beyond anything that we've ever known about. And so it seems to be that's referring to like this, but also a shaking of the heavens. You have the stars coming down. Maybe you have the sky crack and roll back like a scroll. It says, in the wrath of Yahuah and in the day of his fierce anger. I don't know how they can try to teach people that this is something that's already happened. Like, oh, but the fall of Babylon already happened. You're a fool. Foolishness. Okay? And it shall be as the chased roe and as a sheep that no man takes up. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone into his own land. Kind of like, I always think of this. If you had a bunch of cockroaches in your kitchen and you turn on the light, maybe it's a real nasty restaurant, and you turn the lights on, they all scatter. Yeah, like that. Right? Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So there's no escape for the wicked. Right? And what is it that, how, like, thrust through, like, are we talking about his wrath in war? Because a lot of them will slay one another. But let's keep going and see if we can get more clues. This is very intense, so viewer discretion is advised. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their females ravished. Behold, I will stir up Madai against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Madai, foreign derision, some kind of reference to Asia. I see that they use a lot of these Edomite terms or Adamite nation names in interchangeable things. We shouldn't think of this in a geopolitical way, okay? But it is king against king and nation against nation, and no, you can't buy them off. You can't be like, here, I got gold and silver, how much do you need? Like, they're coming to spoil you, and this nation's spoiling that nation, and that nation's spoiling that nation, and this is all them being given over to a buffet of demons, to a mass ritual sacrifice, because they've taken the mark of the beast. They have the mind of the beast in their forehead. They think like the world. That's why they believe all these high-level witches that speak this stuff, because their mind is given over, a reprobate mind. The Qadashayam are transformed by the renewing of their minds, and they have the mind of Hamashiach. And so we think about Durah, and we think about Kadash things and righteous judgments. That's why we don't fit in here at all, man. We're like, y'all are freaking loco. Y'all just gone completely wacko. You were crazy, but now I don't even know. You're demonic, right? Because we don't belong. You can't mix those things, right? Wheats and tares, goats and lambs, water and oil, this kind of thing. Okay. Their bows also shall dash the young males to pieces, so that's war. And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not even spare a child. And Babal, the esteem of kingdoms, the beauty of Kasdim's excellency, shall be as when Elohim overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, so we'll say, well, is that literally the United States of America? I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a big part of it. The U.S. will probably fall in like 1 hour, 1 day. And the merchants of the earth, who you can see as all these profiteers that are out here trafficking in goods and wares, but also in people, are going to say, whoa, when all of it's torn down, completely torn down. Okay, it's their enslavement system, and it's how that they acquire the blood of the innocent that they do drink and they do get strength from. So is Babel just one physical geographical place, or is it actually a spirit like at work within the beast system? The beast system, how can we say the beast system is not everywhere in this whole world? Where are you going to go to escape the beast system? The only places that I can see anyone saying that they could go would be the highest parts of the mountains. And that's just to get away from all peoples, right? But ultimately, we can't flee from the wrath of Yahuwah in our flesh. We need to do that in our obedience, in our amunah, and submission to him, because his Ruach can go everywhere. All right? So it's saying that Babel's going to be getting this, getting basically what Sodom and Gomorrah got. You got fire coming down from heaven, just destroying everything. Verse 20. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Avri, they're saying that it means Arabs or Arabians. I don't know. It's interesting. They put Arav, but there's no Vav. It's a bot, right? Arabia. Neither shall e'er pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their folds there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be filled of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and strays shall dance there. I'm wondering too if this could have a lot to do with the loosing of all the wicked Ruach. We know that 90% of them are bound, and that Abaddon, Apollyon, has the key to the bottomless pit, or has been given permission to loosen the other 90%. And so it's not sounding like a great place at all, right? And if it's just one place, then you just don't go to that one place. What do you think? You think it's one place? Okay. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant places, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. All right, let's go to chapter 14. Such power in these scripts. And Tada to my Yapa Asha for bringing them to my attention. It's like you read through these scriptures oftentimes, and then certain things don't really jump out to you until they do. And I've spoken about some of these things to her before, and then so she read it and she was like, wow, it's just like what you were saying. So I am honored to be able to share that with you guys right now. Okay. Yeshayahu 14:1. For Yahuwah will have chesed on Yaakov. Who's Yaakov? Yashar'Al. Yeah. And I will yet choose Yashar'Al and place them in their own land, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Yaakov. It's talking about some who are grafted in, okay, to the way. That's why I don't shut up the kingdom of Yahuwah to anybody. If somebody wants to profess they have love for Yahusha, that they trust in his finished work on the stake, that they're cleansed by his blood, and that they want to guard his commandments, and I see that they really actually do, and I see that they're not stiff-necked, hard-hearted, rebellious people, that they're really actually like wanting to improve themselves, bro, that's my family. That's my family. I don't care at all what they look like. Young, old, none of that matters. None of that vessel stuff matters. I'm seeing a Ru inside of there that's Yahuwah's Ruach Ha'Qadash dwells there. And that's our family. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Yashar'Al shall possess them in the land of Yahuwah for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. I know they twist this and make it all about race, and I get that. I mean, I get how they could do that, but that's discerning the scriptures in the flesh. That's why you got a flesh deep understanding, because you walk in, your whole life is about the flesh. You know, where's the spirit in that? You know, look, these oppressors, they come in every shape, size, and color too. Yeah. So this is a flipping. The Qadash will no longer be the tail. They'll be the head. It's an inversion of Deuteronomy 28. It's what was promised to our people if we would have just obeyed the commandments that Masha passed down. Deuteronomy 28 says, if you do these things that I command you this day to do, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. Well, they didn't. But if you do not keep these, then that'll happen, that'll happen, that'll happen, and that'll happen. And that's what happened. So this is a reversing of the cursing. All right. Verse 3, and it shall come to pass in the day that Yahuwah shall give you rest from your sorrow. How do we want the Salah? Okay, it's Shabbat, man. Let's remember that. Let's always remember that, but especially on the Shabbat, we should remember that we have a promise of rest coming to us, and things are getting crazy out here, more and more all the time. From your fear, from the hard bondage wherein you were made to serve. See, that's why I said, if you ain't going through it, are you the people? You know what I mean? How are you going to be having your best life now? If your best life now is happening, then you must be on your way to Sheol. That you shall take up this proverb against the king of Babel and say, I mean, who is the king of Babel? What the king that they serve is the prince of darkness, the prince of the power of the air, Hashatan. Okay. How has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Golden city, beast system, Babylon, lots of cities, lots of kings under this king. Okay, it's a kingdom of darkness. Yahuwah has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. The rulers, the kings of the earth conspire together against Yahuwah. Not no more. Broken. Bang. Okay, listen to this. He who smote the people in wrath with the continual stroke, Pharaoh, Hashatan, this king of Babel, is persecuted and no one hinders. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you are laid down, no feller is come up against us. Sheol from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the Rephaim, the Nephilim, the Rephaim, giants, okay, for you, even all the chief ones of the earth. Okay, this foreign mighty ones, demons, the big ones. Okay, you've got a hierarchy in the kingdom of darkness too. And you're already talking about the king was broken, and now Sheol's like wanting you to come down here. Come on down here, devil. And the Rephaim, even all the chief ones of the earth, are moved to meet you. Okay, now listen to this. All they shall speak and say unto you, are you also become as weak as we are? Are you become like unto us? Okay, humbled giants in Sheol, four mighty ones, are saying that to the king of the devils. Your pomp is brought down to Sheol, and the noise of your viols. The worm is spread under you, and the worms cover you. You ain't nothing no more. Okay? How are you fallen from heaven? Oh. I mean, I don't believe in this spelling that they have right here, but whatever. Hallel, son of the howling morning. How are you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nation? How is it that you, the one that was given all this trials, tribulations, troubles, everything, wickedness, tyrannical rule, oppressors, ruling the whole world from your throne, brought down to nothing, down to worms and dust of the earth and all this? Okay. For you said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I'll exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. I will sit also upon the mount of the assembly in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like Al-Elyon. I'll be like Yahuah. I'm going to be in charge. I'm going to be the man. Yep. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the sides of the pit. They that see you shall look narrowly at you and say, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? This guy? I told my Shah, I said, this is going to be like in the Wizard of Oz, and everyone's afraid of the great and terrible Oz. Oh, and then they go in there and then they see the little old man but behind the curtain throwing all the levers and doing all the things, and they're like, you're the one? You're the one who's causing all this? And he's like, oh, you look a scared little thing. Yeah. Crazy, right? Baruk Yahuah. That made the world like a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. No mercy, no jubileem, forgiveness, nothing, right? All the kings of the nation, even all of them, lie in esteem, everyone in his own house, but you are cast out of your grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit as a carcass trodden under foot. You shall not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land and slain your people. The seed of evildoers shall not be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. So, if Hashatan, should say it different, since Hashatan is the king of Babylon, Bavel, then all of the Babylonians who serve and worship the beast, who have the mark of the beast, are like this children of the beast, right? The armies of the earth, with all their occultic patches on they got on their thing right here, all stars and moons and Greek names and all this stuff. It's crazy. Satan's army. Verse 22, for I will rise up against them, says Yahuwah, and cut off from Babal the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, says Yahuwah. I'm not holding back my wrath and my vengeance and my judgment upon anything that has to do with Babylon. Anything about that whole wicked way. And you know about the whore of Babylon, and you have this mother harlot who has multiple daughters. It's all the religiosity, all the religious systems, they're faith-based systems. I'm saying it for understanding, please forgive me. Okay? All these who receive the mark of the beast, they can worship all different types of religions. But it all goes back to this one witchcraft, rebellion against Yahuwah, the real creator, rebellion against the way, through Ra, rebellion against his saving right hand, Yahshua, Yahusha. Yahuwah adds deliverance. Yeah? So they rebel against all these things. And so they're going to have the same type of judgment and wrath and sentencing. They're going where they go. They're going to reap what they sow. Okay? I will also make it a possession for the bittern, and pools of water I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, says Yahuwah. Dang, bro. Yahuwah has sworn 7 oaths. 7 oaths. The oath of oaths. The completeness, the totality, the 7 is the complete, the whole oath. You could just say it's the oath, like all capitals, right? Surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so it shall stand. So it's written right here. It's like, oh no, this is what will happen. Guaranteed. Right? That I will break Ashur. Now see how they put Ashur in there? This is helping us to understand. And I think there's other ones too. Maybe Mitzrayim will be mentioned, and they're interchangeably mentioned because they're all the same crimes. I will break Ashur in my land, and upon my mountain tread him underfoot. Then shall his yoke depart from off of them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. Okay, this also is like, the powers of the four mighty ones, the demons, is all broken and they're ultimately destroyed, right? This is the purpose that I purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. This is the purpose that I've purposed for the whole earth. It ain't just for the USA. It's the whole earth. Okay? What's he talking about? The hand that is stretched out. You talking about the right hand? You talking about his right hand? Yeah. The right hand of Yahuwah is Yahuwah. What? Try tripping. Why y'all tripping? Trip so hard. Stumbling block. The scripture says it will be a stumbling block unto you. You better cry out to the Ruach of Yahuwah for that to be given. Okay? This is the hand that is stretched upon all of the nations, for Yahuwah has purposed. And who is going to disannul it? Who's going to stop me? Think about it. Nobody. Who's like Elohim? Nobody. So that's it. He said it, and it shall be done. He's even saying it to say, this is my purpose, and who's gonna, it says disannul it. Who's gonna stop it? And his hand is stretched out, and who can turn it back? Who can turn back the right hand of Yahuwah? Nobody. In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden. Rejoice not, whole Pelesheth, because the rod of him that smote you is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. So this is interesting too, right? Is this a reference to Leviathan? I don't know. But they're like, oh yeah, don't celebrate just because I took care of the king of Babel, right? For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice. I don't know if this is some kind of a rooster or something. It's weird. I don't think that's an accurate type of translation. But there's another dragon coming out of the root of the serpent, the seed of the serpent, okay, from the same line. The firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety. And I will kill your root with famine, and he shall slay your remnant. I know there's other verses too that talks about if you survive the sword, then you could meet the famine, because like ultimately that judgment, you can't escape from it. So now we're starting to talk about famine, slaying your remnant or your children. Howl, O gate, cry, O city, you whole Pelesheth are dissolved. For there shall come from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed time. What shall one then answer the messengers of the nation, Malachim, that Yahuwah has founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in it? Baruk Yahuah, Halalu Yahuwah. We could probably get into more, but my Shah is stirring and I want to get with her. And I'm really looking forward to all of our time together. Like I said, please Palal for me, for us, for my whole house. I got a lot of things going on, and this is a difficult lifestyle, but we're looking to make some changes that may aid in the situation. But because I feel that the times are so short, there's a lot of urgency, yeah, and there's also a lot of favor from Yahuwah, because I wouldn't want to have things be easy and sacrifice the path, the purification path of being his son. Yahuwah above everything. Yahuwah above everything. Seek ye first the kingdom of Aluah, and all these other things shall be appointed unto you. Your Father knows that you have these needs. Okay, I believe that when the hand of the restrainer is lifted, that the enemy started to be able to try us more and more. But the main purpose of that, Yahuwah is going to use the destruction of the wicked, the time of his wrath and judgment, as a refining time for his bride. So it hurts, right? Being refined, being forged in a flame of affliction, iron sharpening iron. The process is brute force and pain and right. You can't sharpen iron with a feather. You got to put it through it, and it's fire and a hammer. And so here we are, and Please let me know, like I said, how I can pull off for you. Email me. Any questions, concerns, Palau requests, praise reports, because I would love to hear from you guys. Sometimes being out here on the road like this is a very lonely type of lifestyle. I only get, a few calls a day back home, and sometimes we're busy. I'm available when my Yashar's not available, and my Yashar's available when I'm not available, so we're dealing with that. Yahuah has a purpose in this too. And I'm very thanks filled for my little Gidgee here, my little road dog. And I don't know, maybe it's my fault that I gave her the chicken. She really hasn't had any kind of problems like that, but it's just that she wet the bed, and then I changed all the bedding, and then we laid back down, and a few hours later I was like, what is this wet again? And I was like, touching, I'm like, no. I was so crushed, really crushed, but we'll get through it, okay? And you'll get through it. You're stronger than you know, and the one who's for you is greater than that little man behind the counter pulling the levers, the little wizard with all of his trickery and his spell casting. If the Most High did not allow those spells, they would not work. The people are given over to this. They've chosen this. That's why they can't hear you, friend. That's why when you share all the evidence and the proof and everything else, stuff that's so obvious, it's not for them to know. So cling not to the tares. I think I put that video out 2 years ago. Search for it. Cling not to the tares. Go look at it. The time of separation, time of division, time of judgment is at hand. And Yahuah is not well pleased. Not well pleased. Who can endure the wrath of Yahuah? No one. No one. Alright? Baruk Atah Yahuah Adonai Tada for this Yom, for your Shabbat. Thank you for calling us into your rest, for making us your people. Please direct us and guide us in your will, in the way, in the narrow path. Comfort us by your mighty Ruach. And we palau in the name above all names. Bahasham al-Kashamut, Yahusha HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shalom, family. Shalom. But I want to try to find a place to stop, use the facilities, and let Gidgee go potty, and talk a little bit about some stuff that I've been seeing online, where people are in a little bit of a tizzy about Yahusha and Yahuah being Echad. And I want to speak about a little bit about how people cherry pick verses to get the context that they want, and they'll take the script like completely out of context in order to accomplish that. Hey, Baruk Atah, there's a rest area in 1.5 miles. So, I may stop and talk about that more up there, but I want to go over a post that I saw on YouTube by a man that goes by the name Yahusha's Apprentice, and he seems to be very close friends with Ray Bon Yahuah, who, interesting enough, I used to share a lot of his music on our lives on Shabbat because I find it to be very yapa, or filled with beauty, and information in there about the oneness, because he formerly believed that Yahuwah is Yahusha, but now he says that he was deceived into that belief by a man, and the scripts are very clear that he is the son of Elohim, and so he has a stumbling block that he's dealing with, and that is honestly to be expected, you guys. That's clearly what the scriptures say, you know. It is a pivotal thing. I know that he's saying, hey, if you believe that they're one, that's one thing, but if you say it's salvific, then there's a problem. Well, okay, I can understand you saying that. However, the scriptures are also clear, right? There are multitudes of false Mashiachs, but there is only one HaMashiach. So the question has to become, like, do I have the anointed one? Do you have the anointed one? Because I guess I'd say a Mashiach by any other name can't deliver you, right? And that's the heart of the issue, the heart of the matter. I need to really examine if there's, it looks like I'm going to be able to park up here. There's trucks everywhere. You go into these rest areas and they're just all along the sides. There's not enough, I'll say that there's not enough facility to accommodate the need. That's probably a very fair way of putting that statement. So let's just pull into here. I'm going to potty Gidgey and myself, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about a very specific example that Yahusha's apprentice shared on YouTube of how verses are cherry picked and taken out of context. So I will be back with you momentarily. Shalom. Okay, shalom, shalom, mashpaka. I know it's kind of a funky view, but you don't have to look at me. I'm at a rest area on I-79 in West Virginia, and I wanted to talk about some of the things that have been stirring up a lot of folks online, on Facebook, having to do with Yahuwah and Yahusha being Echad, versus, I don't know if some of them deny the Trinity and are dualists, or if they still believe in the Trinity, or what. But anybody who doesn't know, I affirm that Yah, the great I am, Ahaya, Ahar, Ahaya, is the one who adds breath, Yahuah, and he's our deliverer, Yahusha. Okay, I wanted to touch a moment here on something that I saw from one that goes by the name of Yahusha Apprentice on YouTube, and he puts Hebrews 5:5. So also the Messiah did not extol himself to become high priest, but it was he who said to him, "You are my son, today I have brought you forth." And then he has some, what appears to be form of ancient Hebrew. It's I don't know if that's supposed to lend some kind of credibility to the post or just what, but it isn't Picto, and it doesn't even really look like Paleo. And then it says 5, thus even Mashiach, the anointed one, didn't Golorifi, I don't want to say that for a mighty one, his own soul to be the Rab Kumre, priest's chief, but rather he who spoke unto him, "Son, I begot you today." And it's got 15 likes and multiple comments, and one of the commenters is Rabban of Yahuah, who said, "Clear as day, let's hold on to these truths, beloved Ach, till death, if Yahuah the Father and his Son Yahusha wills it." Okay. I don't know. I'm going to try to read this, but I looked at it earlier. It just did not make a lot of sense. He also wrote, Rabban Yahuah also wrote, "It also falls apart if Yahusha is Yahuah, because then he would be extolling or glorifying himself for a mighty one. I believe if it's just Yahuah acting as Yahusha, then in a way he would be glorifying himself. But the verse says he didn't do that. It says Yahuah did that. But if Yahusha is Yahuah, then he did. Clearly two separate beings being one rather than the same person acting as two different people." So I know that the Trinitarians will say three separate beings, one, I don't know what they say, one in essence, which is probably also an unclean word, but I don't know. But so let's look at this. Hebrews 5:5. Okay. Now, I will recommend to you to never even take a single chapter out of context. How much times I've destroyed exegen doctrines by simply keeping the scripts, the verses in context. These people who cherry pick verses to back their positions are very dangerous. Okay? So let's see. I'll just start in verse 1. "For every high priest taken from among Adam," or M-E-N, for a mighty one, "is ordained for Adam in things pertaining to Elohim, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for crimes," Hatah, S-I-N-S, another for a mighty one. "Who can have compassion on the ignorant and on them that are out of the way, for that he himself also compassed with infirmity." So it's explaining why, part of the reason why it was so important for Yah to take on flesh willingly, Elohim with us, and so that he could be tempted in all points and ways as we are, but yet without crime, right? So he could relate to our infirmities, so he could understand all the things that befall us. Of course, he really intimately does understand them, but that no one would have an excuse. All right? "And by reason hereof he ought, as for the people, so also for himself, to offer for Hatah." Now, so does Yahusha have to offer for himself? No. He's the only one. It says, may all people fall short. None are worthy. No, not one. Okay, well, he is worthy. So is he contradicting that script, or is it just the truth that he is placed apart from all other sons of Adam, in that he doesn't even have a fleshly seed father? He is supernaturally begotten by Yah, by the Ruach of Yah, into a vessel of flesh within the womb of Miriam. She is not to be worshipped. You don't palal to her. None of that. Okay? That's over in Roman Catholicism, and that's Queen of Heaven worship. Okay? But he's not offering for himself. Okay? "No man takes this Honor unto himself, but he that is called of Elohim, as was Aaron. So also Mashiach magnified not himself to be made a high priest, but he that said unto him, You are my son, today have I begotten you." So it's just to say, like, he can't break the priestly order. He can't somehow go against what's already established in the order. Okay, so now they really hung on this. They're like, "Oh, you are my son." See, right there, mic drop. Okay, let's just go to the next verse. Verse 6. "As he says also in another place, you are a priest forever after the order of," and I'm going to tell you right now, this says Malach Tzedek. It does not say Melchizedek or Melchizedek or anything else. It says Malak Sadak, which is king of righteousness. Now, if you want to take everything in context and really have understanding, don't cherry pick verses. Take everything to Abba. Ask him, cry out to him for understanding. Don't listen to me and don't listen to those guys. Okay? You have one teacher, right? Yah, our Father in heaven. Okay? Now, I do want to go to chapter 7, and I do have a video on this too. Let me see if I can get you the title of the video, because I would recommend that you check it out. I gotta try to find it. It's a little bit of an older one. So it's called Melchizedek / Malachi Sadak. Okay? Melchizedek Malachi Sadak, and it's about 35 minutes long. Now I want to go to 7 because it really does break down what Malachi Sadak is. And it says, for this Malachi Sadak, king of Shalum, priest of Al-Alyan, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and baraked him. Okay, this is outside of the time of Yahusha's begottenness that they want to trip and stumble all over. Okay, look, John 1 makes it very clear that in the beginning was the Word was with Elohim, the Word was Elohim, that the Word made everything, and apart from him was not anything made out of everything that was made. And he was speaking about Yahusha. Okay, so Yahusha is the creator according to John 1:1. The name Yahuah means Yah adds breath, or Yah the creator, or Yah that created. Okay, there's a lot of richness in Abrith language, so you know it can be phrased several different ways. English is crazy weak, crazy polluted. It's full of curses, names of foreign mighty ones. People who cling to English translations of the New quote-unquote Testament, which is really the renewed oath, which is an oath as in a marriage oath. And these people don't understand about marriage according to Torah. Because if you say that the son is going to marry the father's ex-wife, you make him a criminal. That breaks Torah. That's blasphemy. Okay? It's straight up blasphemy. There's significant reason why the titles of father and son and stuff are used. Okay? It has everything to do with understanding. It is essential that Yah took on flesh and he lived a life completely free from hatah, always submitting himself, always submitting his flesh to the will of the Ruach of Yahuah, the Spirit of the Most High. Any man who doesn't submit his flesh to the will of the Spirit of Yahuah is in hatah. As soon as you start doing what's right in your own eyes, instead of what's right in the will of Yahuah and what's written in his Torah, his word made flesh, you're in error. Okay? Let me go to 7:2. To whom Abraham gave a 10th part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, which is Malak Sadak, and after that also king of Shalum, which is king of Peace. And who do we associate that with being? Yah, the one and only king, family. Okay? Who promised to be our deliverer and is. without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of Elohim. So now you conceive that the Son, the one who was made like unto a son of Elohim and abides a priest continually, that's Yahusha, constantly interceding for us, right? So we know this. Also, has no mother, has no father, has no beginning nor ending. Now you got a real issue on your hands, don't you? Don't you? Right? Because in his flesh he condescended himself to the Father in all ways. That humility, that submission, that obedience is why he is without spot or wrinkle, blemish of any kind. But you can clearly see that it says right here that he's without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days, so he always existed. He was never created. He is not a creature. Blasphemy. Telling you the truth, it's blasphemy to call him a creature. Okay? Nor does he have an end of life. So even if he lays down his life willingly and takes it up again on the third day, he is Yah. Ahaya, Ahar, Ahaya. Masha said, who shall I say sent me? They're going to ask me your name. And he said, I am that I am. I will be what I will be. Oh, he can't be the Father and the Son. You say he can. That's limiting him. That is limiting him. Okay? The very name Ahaya, Ahar, Ahaya is to say that you can't have limits like that. Now, if he comes out and says, Yahuwah is not a man that he shall lie, or that he cannot lie, or we know he cannot transgress, and things like that. You know, and people stumble and they'll say, oh, the Father can't die. No one said that the Father dies just because they're one. In John 17, he says, make them one with me as I am one with you. That's Echad. Behold, Yashar'Al, Yahuah, or Alua is Echad. Elohim, why is it plural? Because he is the completeness. He is the totality of everything that is all-seeing, all-knowing, all filled with power. He is all in all. Verse 4. Now consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoils. And truly they that are of the son of Levites, who receive the office of priesthood, have a command to take tithes of the people according to the statute that is of the brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham. Just showing you how much greater the Melchizedek priesthood is than the Levitical priesthood. But he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham, and Baruk him that had the promises. And without all contradiction, the less is Baruked of the better. And here Adam, or Men, that die received tithes, but there he receives them, of whom it is witnessed that he lives. And now as I may so say, Louis also, who received tithes, paid tithes in Abraham, for he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was there that another priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek, and not be called after the order of Aaron? For the priesthood being changed, there is made a necessity of change also of the priestly regimen. For he of whom these things are spoken pertains to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar. For it is evident that our Adonai sprung out of Yehuda, of which tribe Masha spoke nothing concerning the priesthood. And we know that the 144,000 are kings and priests forever after the order of Melchizedek. He is the firstborn amongst several brethren. Talked about this so much times. You don't see kings of Yashar'Al doing priestly duties or vice versa. There are separate roles. This is a unique role in all of creation, of that which Yah himself is the first fruits of, that is a king and a priest, making all righteous judgments and righteous intercessions on behalf of Yah. Verse 15, and it is yet far more evident, for that after the similitude of Malach Zadok there arise another priest, who is made not after the regimen of the commands of the flesh, but after the power of an endless life. So how was he conceived? Was he conceived in the flesh, Yahusha? Or is it an immaculate conception, like they say? I don't know if that terminology is clean, but I think people understand it, right? The Ruach of Yahuah came unto Miriam, and she was with child. That's unique in the whole creation. It never happened. Okay? Well, look, Yahusha has no hatah, never even an unclean thought. You guys understand how different that is than all of man ever? And then it says in 17, for he testifies, you are a priest forever after the order of Malach Zadok. This is the order by which the renewed Yashar'Al will walk in. 144,000 families, heads of households. And you have 12,000 from each of these tribes. It's the completion of the promise for Yaakov, right? For there is truly a disannulling of the commandment going before, for the weakness and unprofitableness thereof. For the priestly regimen made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of a better, HOPE, did, by the which we draw nigh unto Elohim. Now, a lot of people will say, no one gets to the Father but through the Son, and that's exactly right. And the Son says, I came in the name of the Father, not to do my will, but to do his will. So it's through this gate, Yahusha, that we can draw near to Elohim in all of our uncleanness, unworthiness, imperfection, and everything else. Remember too, the scripture says that Yahuwah was married to two sisters, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom of Yashar'Al, Ephraim and Yehudah. Ephraim received a certificate of divorcement. Now, understanding in Thurah the certificate of divorcement, she could present to another man to marry, but it lays out her charge. What against her? She's a harlot. She's a whore. Okay, that's why Ephraim got divorced. That's why the scripture says that Yahuwah hate divorce except for the case of fornication. Okay? Spiritual idolatry. She slept with the enemy. She worshipped the devils. Okay? So the certificate of divorcement is canceled out if the husbandman dies. Yahusha willingly took on flesh as a son of Adam to perfect the failures of Adam, and in also canceling out Ephraim's certificate of divorcement. This is the basurah, that the ones who were once afar off, meaning the lost sheep, are being brought back into the fold with Yah. By him willingly laying down his own life, that's making that a perfect sacrifice. Yahuwah provided the sacrifice, just like Abraham and Isaac. And where is the sacrifice? And Abraham says, Yahuwah will provide the sacrifice. And he also took it up again. Why? Because the Ruach it's the body that was prepared, that walked out perfection, that he willingly laid a life down as that fleshly vessel. But he always existed before that. You're talking about the Ruach of Yahuah entering into his own creation. Just like the burning bush, just like the pillar of smoke and fire in the wilderness, and other places. In the Christianity, they have a name for that. I forgot what they call it. But yeah, Yah appeared in his creation prior to Yahusha HaMashiach's being begotten and born. Verse 20, and inasmuch as not without an oath he was made priest. For those priests were made without an oath, but this with an oath, by him that said unto him, Yahuwah swore and will not repent, you are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Verse 22, by so much was Yahusha made a surety of a better oath, a better marriage contract, a better wedding feast of the Lamb. That's in the end of your scripture. Yahuwah laid down his life to cancel out the certificate of divorcement, took back up his own life, okay? And this, that he would marry her again. The son can't marry the father's ex-wife, that breaks Thurah. But he alone can do things like this. Be married, certificate of divorcement, lay down his life to cancel it out, and then marry her again. Yeah. In an everlasting oath that cannot be broken, because he's going to cleanse her and purify and sanctify her by his own spirit. Yahuwah can't be the Father and the Son. Oh, really? Can he dwell in you and me and her and him at the same time? How many different vessels can he dwell in? How many different sons and daughters are born again by the power of the Ruach Ha'Qadash? Ask Abraham. He can't number them. More than the stars of the Shemayim. And they truly were a multitude of priests, because they were not suffered to continue by reason of death, but because he continues forever, has an unchangeable priesthood. So this is talking about how Adam's failure is perfected in Yahusha's success. And it's eternal. And it's perfect. And it cannot change. Verse 25, wherefore he is able also to save them to the uttermost that came unto Elohim by him. If you come unto Elohim by some other way, then you're denying the power of Yah to save. If you have any other HaMashiach than Yahusha, Yah who saves, Yahuwah our deliverer, then you have a false Mashiach. Seeing that he ever lives to make intercession for them. For such a high priest became us, he who is Qadash, placed apart, harmless, undefiled, separated from criminals, made higher than the heavens. You know who wants to be higher than Yah in the heavens? Hashatan, aka Hail Zeus, Horus, Krishna, Lord, Baal, Christ, all these. Yeah. So you need to come out of that Christianity. That's a doctrine of devils. And people who claim to have the name of Yah but still have Trinitarian doctrines deny Yah all the esteem that he deserves by giving it to another creature. Yah promised to be our deliverer, and he is, and he does not give his esteem unto another. This is Durah. I'm telling you scripts. If you don't understand through Ra, then how can you understand the Barit Chadashah? And I'm sorry, but some of these people also share and speak a lot of Yiddish, and then they call it the ancient language. And I think it's disturbing, because the Yiddish is a defilement of the pure lip. And so throwing that around like you know something, I don't care who the most esteemed academic Yiddish speaking person there is. They don't understand the scriptures, and they deny HaMashiach. They deny HaMashiach. They don't want to give Yah credit for everything that he's done, is doing, and will do. They virtue signal, and they want to be esteemed. They want to receive their reward already by being esteemed of man and not being pleasers of Elohim. Verse 27, who needs not daily as those Levitical high priests to offer up sacrifice, first for his own hatah, and then for the people's. For this he did once when he offered up himself. You have to also understand how pure the sacrifice, how all-encompassing, all-covering, the eternal value of a sacrifice. There is no crime that cannot be covered by the love of Yah. Verse 28, for the law makes Adam high priest which have infirmities, but by the word of the oath. You always should be thinking about marriage when you see this oath and this other covenant. Covenant is an unclean word. Witches coven together. Devils conspire together. Okay? Let me start this one again. For the law makes Adam high priests which have infirmity. That's referring to the Levitical law, right? But by the word of the oath, which was since the Thurah, the Son is consecrated forevermore. You know, it's amazing because people don't seem to have a problem with saying that the Ruach Ha'Qadash is Yah, the Creator, the Father in heaven. But they have a really difficult time saying that the Son is Yah, the Creator, on earth, in the flesh, the right hand of Yah. Yahusha is the right hand of Yah, the physical manifestation of the works of the Spirit of Yahuwah in his own creation. This is not hard. Flesh and blood cannot reveal this to you. I cannot reveal this to you in this video. It must be revealed to you by Yahuwah. And those who stumble at cherry-picked verses taken out of the greater context of the entirety of Scripture will not have understanding. Especially when you're dealing with Scriptures that are translated into English from Greek, which is already unclean. And guess what? You remember that game, that telephone game I used to play? And you whispered in someone's ear, and they'd whisper and whisper, go down the line. By the time it got back, the things all changed. Yeah. Now imagine that it's a bunch of devils playing that game, and they're trying to change it. They're trying to twist it. They're trying to make you speak the names of four mighty ones. And they have. And they have. So if you don't have a solid foundational understanding of Thurah, you cannot understand the Scriptures. That's why Roman Catholicism is a thing, and Mormonism is a thing, and Baptist is a thing, and Greek Orthodoxy is a thing. Hashatan don't care how you're fooled, just as long as you're fooled. He doesn't care which false Mashiach you have, as long as you don't have Yahusha, the great I am, add salvation, Ha, the Mashiach, anointed one. Oh yeah, and you know, what about that other verse where it says, I guess maybe it's in Luke or something where it says that Yahusha is everlasting Father. What do people do with that? What do people do with that? You got one king on the throne, one husband, okay? And Yah is to make his bride one with him, like Yahusha is one with Yahuwah. Because at the end of the day, family, all you need to know is that the great I am is Echad. And beside him, there is no Elohim. And if you worship anything other than Yah, the creator and sustainer of all things, it's idolatry, aka spiritual fornication, aka sleeping with the enemy, eating meat sacrificed to idols. I've been saying these things for a while now, and my heart breaks that none are listening. My family goes and they listen to every Tom, Dick, and Harry out here, and all I can say is, Abba, give chesed unto Yashar'Al, a stiff-necked, rebellious, hard-hearted people, tossed to and fro by every wind and doctrine. May Yahuwah barak you and keep you, and make his face to shine upon you. Someone might say to me, well, why did he say Palal to the Father in the name of the Son? I think this is actually simple. You do know that he will have another name when he comes back too, right? But he's not a different person. These names speak of the accomplishments that can belong to one only, Yah. When it says Yahuah, Yahuwah alone has the power to create. Even the most power-filled devil cannot create. He can only twist and pervert what's already been made. He can't make anything. Just like the name Ahaya, Ahar, Ahaya. No one else can claim to be the great I am, Ancient of Days, without beginning, without ending, without mother, without father, like we talked about. Who else can claim that? No one but Yah can claim that. Anyone else who claims such a thing is a blasphemer. And Yahusha has no hatah. He is not a blasphemer. He always condescended himself to the Ruach of Yahuwah when he's in the flesh. Always. Okay? The name Yahusha also shows you the great I am. Yahusha, Shah, deliverance, adds deliverance. Okay? Just like, oh shoot, I just was looking at the one, I just did a video recently on Isaiah. His name also affirms the Echadness of Yah, along with Elisha and Elijah. And all these prophets came in the name of Yah. Okay? So, I don't know. I Palal that somehow this helps. I also have a video that's called Ahaya, Yahuah, Yahusha. I recommend watching. It's probably over 3 years now. My most beauty-filled Asha. Hi, baby. I love you so much. I miss you. Her and I sat out around the fire, under the stars, and just went over these things. And I think it was a very fruit-filled message, and I recommend that you check it out. I'm going to go ahead and go deliver this trailer and just continue this journey down the narrow path, speaking these truths whenever Abba stirs me up to. I don't have any ill will, hatred, or anything in my heart towards any of the people who perpetrate these deceptions. Okay, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, powers, rulers, dominions. Okay, this is a controversy that's very ancient. It goes all the way back. It comes down to denying the power of Yah. Right? The Trinity is a Babylonian concept. I wish that you guys could get this. You could look at Isis, Ra, and El, Zeus, Horus, Krishna. You see how they keep on wanting to do that? The mother, the father, and the child reunion. It's a Luciferian occult religion. And they've tried to usurp the true Amunah in the ancient one, Yahuah. They have tried to usurp it and turn it into a doctrine of devils so that they could receive worship that's due to the Most High Yah alone. Alone. Hashatan declared that he would be like the Most High. That's what's happening in these circus. That's what's happening. They're worshiping foreign mighty ones like Hashatan and his ilk. Shalom, Shalom, Mashpaka. Baruk Atah Yahuah, and Tara for this union. Please give us your Gil, Shalom, and Hasad, and your Qadashayam, Bahashem, Qadashayam of Yahusha, HaMashiach. Why would I pull out to the Father in the name of the Son? Because the Father is Yah in heaven. That's the source. That's the power. That's the Ruach of Yahuah. And the name of the Son is a declaration, an acknowledgement that He is my deliverer. That's why I want to Palal in that name, because that's the most recent work. That's the most significant redemptive work that He's done. He's still creator. I acknowledge Him as creator, the great I am, the only one outside of space and time and matter and everything else. He's the only one who can do what He can do. No one else is like unto Elohim. If you have anyone else that you liken unto Elohim, you have an idol. So is it salvific to have a different Mashiach than Yah Himself, who swore to be our deliverer? Yeah, it is. That's not hard. And it's not personal. It's scripture. It's just scripture. There is only one name under heaven by which man can be saved. Yahusha. Yah, our deliverer. HaMashiach, the anointed one. Malak Sadak, King of righteousness. The King. The one and only King, family. Oof, man, I got that fire right now. Baruk Yahuah, Shalom. Baruk Yahuah, Shalom, Mashpaka. So everything to do with the drop-off went well. No issues. I did have to resubmit my paperwork because they said it was blurry, but with the amount of misty rain and everything in the air, I'm kind of not surprised. Although I did take the photos inside the camping world, so maybe it was just my lens on my phone, I don't know. But everything went well with all that, so now I'm making my way back. I do have, like I said, maintenance scheduled on the truck for tomorrow, so today we'll be getting back to Goshen / Wakarusa. I have a pilot on here right now. It's 3 hours away, 185 miles. It was showing as the least expensive place for fuel between West Virginia and Indiana. So I'll likely go ahead and just top off there. And I'm going to try to see if I can get a shower too, if it's not too long of a line, so to say. But definitely when I get back to Wakarusa, I need to do the laundry. So I'll get that taken care of. Thanks again, everybody, for coming and watching and hanging out, and also for the support and the encouragement and for the applause. We really do appreciate it. We are striving to move out of Washington State, and we are feeling drawn to sojourn with our brother Aki Matayahu Shalom Shalum, Ak, if you're watching. Miss you lots and love you much, and looking forward to Abba bringing us together again, as we know that He's sovereign over all appointments, and He makes the times and the arrangements and all of that. And again, I had put out that if you're interested in a meetup, to break bread, to do an immersion, please email me. The email's in the description of all videos, and I will see what I can do to get a load that's coming through your area or to your area. If Yahuah wants to, make that happen for us. Now, if you are a female and you don't have a head covering, okay, I would consider to do a meet. I would run it by Yahusha, but it would be all public. Like, I'm not coming to your house for a meal or doing nothing like that. So we're not doing anything like that. With all due respect to you and to my Yahusha, I don't want to even give the appearance of any kind of issues like along those lines. But even if your husband is not completely in the way, or he's ex-gen or something, I mean, if he's there, then Baruk Atah Yahuah. And if Abba moves on me to be able to speak anything to him, persuade or convince or anything else like that, I'll be very honored to be used that way by the Most High. And then obviously if you're a Ak, a brother, a male, it's no problem. Just let me know. Shoot me an email. Alright? So I'm going to go ahead and let this video finalize. I did decide to have two kind of standalone videos that are clips from this larger video on this one. Abba really fired me up to speak on the Achad, or oneness of Yah, and I think I'm going to call that video There Can Only Be One, and show a picture of the crown that has Yahuah and Yahusha's name. And also another one that was on Yeshayahu, or Isaiah 13 and 14, which is already uploaded in Ruach Ha'Qadash, plus a couple of shorts this time too. I mean, Abba was really stirring me up on a few things, but this larger video of dang, I just lost my train of thought, forgive me. This video is going to be called LaGrange to Fairmont. LaGrange to Fairmont. Baruk Yahuah. Shalom Shalom. Mashpaka. Barukah, favor from on high, and Ahaba, much love in Yahuah. Let me just say Baruk Atah Yahuah Adoni Tata for this day, and for my siblings. Please give us your Gil, Shalom, and Hasad in Yahusha's name. Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shalom, Shalom, Mashpaka.